Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Jared Moon. The Garage Gym Athlete Podcast is a result of my desire to build better humans, unequivocal coaches, and autonomous athletes. I've spent the last several years obsessing over program design, nutrition, and every other way you can optimize human performance. This podcast distills the latest scientific research with what I've learned and blends it with the not-so-scientific field of mental toughness. We are here to build you into a dangerously effective athlete. If you enjoy this podcast, you can find out more about our training at garagegymathlete.com. And if you want to pursue more into the field of coaching and programming, head to endof3fitness.com. Thanks for listening. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jared Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
Hey, man. How's it going?
It's fantastic. And we are here with Daniel Kupec. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing great. Even better now that we're amongst a log cabin, it looks like, and a barbell I see in the corner. So I think we're going to have a great conversation. But give us an introduction, man, who you are, what you do, how you train. And I'm adding this one in. Where are you from?
My name is Daniel Kupec. Recently heard that might not be how you pronounce it, but that's what I go by.
Like somebody told you?
Was it like your dad? Because like other than that.
A FedEx delivery guy from like Eastern Europe. And then the anesthesiologist at my wife's second birth, he was also from somewhere in Eastern Europe, walked in and was like, "Hey, Kupec, how you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, didn't know that." So, but Kupec my whole life. I'm from New York. I live in Long Island in New York. Been training in my Back-Porch, which is this log cabin looking structure, on and off for about 10 years.
That's awesome.
And I'm a high school guidance counselor.
Very cool. That's is it insulated and like all that good stuff? It looks pretty like it's
for New York, you gotta keep warm.
Yeah. No, I mean it's mostly windows. So just the one wall shares like with our kitchen. It's not insulated, but like it's good like 9 months of the year.
Yeah.
So,
it's like Texas, but for opposite reasons.
The reverse.
Yeah. All right, man. So what do you have in there? What is your setup?
So right now I'm like in a transition phase. So in here right now I just have like about 350 in some bumper plates and small plates, a bench, got my weight vest, and some power blocks, 5 to 50. And then my original, what started it, pull-up bar for the doorway. And I did have a like half rack here, like one from Dick's. Recently just sold it because I'm moving into the garage in a few weeks out of this place. So I just bought a wall-mounted rack for there. So that's awesome. Coming.
All right, so I got to hear about this. Anytime we have someone who's been doing it for a decade at least. So you mentioned you started with a door, basically a door jam, pull-up bar. You've transitioned, and now you're, eventually, whatever the next month, couple months, or whatever the time frame is, going to garage gym. So just kind of tease that out for us. How do you go from I'm going to put up a pull-up bar in my door to moving to your garage gym full space over 10 years? How'd you do that?
Yeah, so I was a baseball player my whole life, going into college, baseball still, but I was always chubby, like never in shape. And then after college, now that I wasn't running nonstop all the time, definitely put on some weight. Kind of had lost it in college, then yo-yoed back up. And I remembered a friend telling me he like got in shape doing P90X in college. So I actually started with that, but all I had was the pull-up bar. It was like $20 from Modell's. So I started with that. Did that off and on, but not really because I got really tired of the DVDs. And then I'm trying to think. From there, I did do a little, like I was doing some running. Moved into an apartment and joined a big gym for a while and absolutely hated it. I remembered why I didn't like it in college either. Just, it was always packed. Could never get anything. I didn't really know what I was doing either. So then in grad school is when it really started. I took this course, Learning and Motivation, and you had to pick one goal and try to achieve it in 15 weeks. And so that's when it really started. I was like, I'm going to drop to a certain body fat because I don't know if it's possible. I might just be one of those chubby people. And so that was my goal for 15 weeks. I had the bullet bar and I added the 5 to 50 pound power blocks. did that, and kind of just started building from there. And then eventually I bought the squat rack with a bunch of gift cards that I kept accumulating. I bought that and like a 300-pound set and the bench. So I didn't pay for any of it, all gift cards from presents over time.
That's what people need to realize. Like my reverse hyper cost me $0.
Yeah.
All I do, ask people want to know, like, family, like what can you get me for birthday or whatever, Christmas? It's a Rogue Fitness gift card. I just try to like make sure it's all the same company. That way, over time, I have enough of them.
Yep.
There you go.
So we got our rower.
Yeah, exactly.
That's next. But yeah, gift cards was good. I was just trying to buy something new, and I was like telling my wife, I was like, I haven't really paid for any of this, so I think it's okay if I buy something actually with money. So it kind of helped get in that direction.
That's awesome, man. And so why are you moving to the garage?
So we had our second kid in end of October, and like I said, this space is good for like 9 months of the year. So we want to use it like as a little play area, and it steps out onto our patio. So figured let's move to the garage. I'm having someone redo the concrete floor in there because right now it's pulling away from the walls and all over the place. And I'll be out there.
That's really cool, man. And I like the progression. I want to jump back to something you mentioned. It sounded like a really cool course. What is it? Was it you 15 weeks to accomplish one goal? Like, was that the course in and of itself? Was like, hey, we're going to give you 15 weeks to achieve a goal and see how you do?
Yeah, basically. So it was like I was in grad school for counseling, and we might have read a book or something, but most of it was just trying to see like why do people do things, what helps them learn. And for me, the best part of it was like I had to hold myself accountable now because I said I'm going to hit this body fat percentage. I'm going to show you guys like before and after pictures. So it was probably the most committed I had been to a goal ever before.
That's really cool.
And you had to write a big paper about it and everything you learned from that.
Yeah, I mean, that's like multiple levels of accountability. So you have your peers who are like, know what you're going to be doing. You've told your professor, and then you have this paper that you have to present that your grade depends on by the end. Man, all goals should be forced in that direction. That's really cool. So what was the big reason for training at home? You mentioned the overcrowded gyms and stuff, but is that the main reason you prefer training at home?
I didn't like that was one reason, but I kind of like being on my own, doing my thing. And I'm like more on the introverted side. So I liked being able to get up whenever I felt like it. And when I started it, I was still living at home. So it was just easy. I could roll out of bed early in the morning, get it in before going to class. That was like one of the big reasons why I did it.
And what are some of your goals right now?
So originally, like when I started the year, it was consistency. So I really wanted to make sure I did the 4 days a week, every week for the entire year. Because even though I joined Garage Gym Athlete, I think like November or October 2018, somewhere around there, I didn't really stick with it. And then when I had my daughter, 2 months, I just got lazy and I was like, nah, I think sleep, which is important. But
yeah, sleep was going to trump the workout today. Yeah,
it was. But there were days I slept great, and I was like, well, I haven't done it anyway. So
I'm so far gone now. Like,
might as well. So then,
well rested.
Yeah, very well rested. So this year I really wanted to hit that. Plus, this was pre-pandemic, so I was still going to work, and my pants were starting to get tight. So I was like, I need to get back on this. So that was my goal for the year. And recently, so I have like a little whiteboard in here, and I was just marking down how many times I trained each month. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, just by doing the 4 days, it would look a lot nicer if all those numbers said at least 20. So I'm kind of changing it to at least 20 days a month, because doing the minimum 4 works out to 18, 19 most months. So
the calendar is a pretty cool thing to do. I know Craig Lewis does it as well as his gym. He had the year breakdown. Yeah. And he talked about how filling up his calendar for the year is one of his goals, however many training sessions it is.
Yeah, I saw a couple of guys post that, they were marking off X's on their calendar. I think next year I might have to do that so that I can hit even more. So I definitely want the consistency, because I don't think I've ever been consistent working out ever. It was always 60 days, 90 days good, and then 3 months off. So I want that whole year. And then now that I'm moving through it, I kind of want to, I think I'm mostly in like the established for everything that I can do. I don't have a rower, so I don't know where I'm at with that. But I would like to get into some of the competitor levels for a few of the things. Some of them, like running 400 meters in 60 seconds, I don't see happening. But I could get into some of them, I think.
Yeah, and those are getting a facelift soon. So who knows? Maybe it
might work out in your favor.
Yeah,
it might not. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, man. So you kind of mentioned what you're doing before you were a garage gym athlete. Baseball, P90X, which is a great program for a very short amount of time. What else have you dabbled in?
Yeah, P90X like the gateway drug, and I still like a couple of things just because there's some solid workouts in there that got me started. But from there, I did strong lifts for a little bit, and I got the 5x5, and I got so tired of doing that all the time. So it started to get on me. I did a couple other of those like beach body type programs. For a stretch, I was just running like 5 miles every other day. And then I think I did purchase one man, one barbell actually like shortly before I signed up for the garage gym athlete training. So I did that a little bit, but I had like my shoulder was messed up. So I was just kind of doing a little bit of lifting here and there, sporadic until finally joining up.
Yeah. So CrossFit never made it in there anywhere?
Oh, that's true. I forgot.
You sound like, just the profile we have of athletes, there's P90X, strong lifts. There's got to be a CrossFit I think somewhere.
There's a pamphlet that secretly goes around like, oh, you've been doing this. Now you got to progress to this now.
This is the path before garage gym athlete.
Yeah. You're right. I did forget that. For like 2 months, I signed up for like an online CrossFit. It was similarly priced, like some programming, because I couldn't afford to go to an actual CrossFit gym. But I was like, I just watched the CrossFit games. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. But there was nothing. It was just like, this is what we're doing. And I was like, I'm not strong enough to do any of these things. And I didn't know how to change anything. So like, this isn't working. And that's when I started searching around. And I don't know if you guys came up as an ad or I found it like just searching for different stuff. Whatever it was, it popped up, and I kept like kind of scoping you out for like a month or two before I was like, I'm doing this.
Well, that's the list. We follow people who have done strong lifts, had some sort of background. After you hit that CrossFit check mark, we're after you. So yeah, you didn't find us, we found you.
That's it.
People experiencing CrossFit indigestion.
Right. All right, man. So how do you like training on are we calling it a porch? What are we?
Yeah, it's a back-porch, enclosed.
Is this our first porch athlete, Joe?
There might be. I know some people move their racks out to a back patio, like small points of the year, but not like full on back porch, because this is a nice enclosed porch too.
Yeah, I know Kyle Hayescamp had like when he lived in California. He's moved to the other coast now, but when he was in California, he had like a patio gym. But I mean, true back porch athlete. I think this is the first, and I think it's awesome. So how do you enjoy it?
It's pretty solid. I mean, I think it's like 13 by 7 feet. So it gets everything done for what I have in here. It does get super hot still, even with all the windows somehow in the summer. Like it gets so humid on Long Island sometimes. So it gets hot. And then in the winter, there's no insulation. So it gets cold too. I keep the barbell in the kitchen during the winter before bringing it out here. But I like it. The only thing I don't like is since I train, I'm like a 5:30 guy in the morning before work. So it's dark, and then I have the lights on. I'm just like exposed with all these windows around me for the people walking their dogs. And here I am in here dying sometimes. But I do like it. It's a solid setup. But I'm excited to move to the garage. It's going to be more space out there.
It's funny. We had I don't know where they get so I just moved, and I don't know where they get your information, but we had a home security salesman come up to our house, and he's like, I'm going to do a free assessment. I was like, all right, whatever, dude, do your thing. And he was checking out the garage, and he's like, would you want, security cameras over here, or like door monitors or anything? I was like, dude, if anybody wants to break in my garage and haul that stuff off, like, just, that's fine. I'm not trying to secure any of this stuff, because if you're coming for reverse hyper, like, I just want to give you a pat on the back, and maybe we could be friends.
Maybe, yeah.
You and your 3-man crew.
Right. Yeah. So, being exposed in the morning is, I think it's just a pretty funny thing to like something you probably don't ever have to worry about anybody breaking in there and getting your stuff.
Nah, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. And my in-laws live, in that area, pretty close to New York, and it can get really freaking hot in the summer. Like it's not like, I mean, it's more mild than somewhere like Texas because it doesn't just like drag on, and you do get some reprieve in the early morning or night. But I remember being there in the summer multiple times, and I'm like, wow, this is like much hotter than I thought it would be. So it can get uncomfortable where you're at.
It can. It's not as bad. I listened to some of the other guys like way up north where it's freezing. And you guys in Texas, like, or you, Jared, not Joe. But I was in Texas for like a month once in Houston. And I remember I just stepped out of the apartment and I was dripping in sweat. So it doesn't get like that here. It's pretty, I think it's a good climate for the most part.
Well, I will have Jared beat soon, though. I will have Texas beat soon in a couple of weeks.
I can't wait. I can't wait for
aggressive.
Yeah. Houston and El Paso are horrible representations of the state of Texas, just and I'm talking about temperature primarily. So I mean, Dallas is pretty bad. All right, cool, man. Well, let's get into it. What's the hardest workout you've ever done?
So I was thinking about this, and I think it's really two different things. So there's in college, like with baseball, those like penalty workouts where you're just running forever. And those were, I think, the hardest because you don't know when it's ending. There's no rules. He's just mad at you and you're going.
No rules. Yeah.
Like I remember after a party once, guys showed up late and he's like, all right, line up. And it was just like a pyramid run. But he didn't tell you what number we're getting to or that it was a pyramid and we're going back down. So you're trying to pace it, but you also know how fast you are, so you can't look bad. And he's just waiting for someone to throw up, apparently. But so that in like the not knowing sense. But I think the worst was actually when I first signed up for Garage Gym Athlete. It was like a month later, I did Broken Arrow because everyone was talking about Meet Yourself Saturday. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And it's not that it was like crazy hard, like because you knew what was coming. But I did it. It was in January, and it was freezing in New York. And then on the bike ride, it started pouring rain. And I remember just thinking, I'm like, why am I doing this? It's optional. And here I am out in the rain on a bike.
In January.
So, it's always great when why comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I mean, most people I don't ride a bike in January. So like you.
Me either.
Yeah, you did awesome. What kind of bike are you riding? Is it like a?
I don't even know. It was my dad's mountain bike, and I just was like, this will work. I mean, I did a scaled version of it too.
Not light.
No, yeah, I'm just curious because it sounds like you were probably pretty cold.
I think it's not a mountain bike, but also not a racing bike. It has like that in betweener wheel.
Oh, I gotcha. Like a gravel
My dad
bike
used to ride it to work instead of taking a car a lot of times. So that's what it was for.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, I think so. I just recently got into cycling, and recently, I mean, over the last couple of years, and I found that out last winter, even in Texas. I was like, got in my biking gear and like went off. It was like January or February, and I was like, oh, I see why people don't ride bikes, or they get better gear because like I couldn't feel my toes or my hands by the end of that ride.
Yeah,
and you had more work to do after the ride.
Yeah. It was, and the rain didn't help either.
No,
pouring rain, and I'm like, man. So that was I think the last athlete podcast. I think the guy was talking about cycling in the cold and his feet. And I was like, yep, he's right on that one. Like it is way colder on a bike.
All right, in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
So I think I'm still working on it, but for me, it's just that like later mentality, especially things I don't like doing, because I find myself all the time, I'm like, I'll take care of that later. And it just keeps getting pushed off. And I realize when I tackle things right away, I don't want to do it, but the feeling after that is so much better and it kind of builds on it. But still working on it because I find myself doing it more and more.
That's a tough one. I developed that habit very badly in high school and college. I would always be like, if I didn't pay attention to the teachers much, I would just teach myself later from the book, and so I wouldn't pay attention that much. And it worked out okay because I'm not a good verbally. Like that's a part of the reason I do it too, is like you give me information only verbally, and like I won't retain as much as if I just have the book and go through it. But then once I got to pilot training, that wasn't teach yourself later type of material. So that was painful. And then it started to eat into my life of like, I'd always be like, I'll do it later. So I've had to retrain myself over the last several years to be like, no, just do it right now. How about now? So yeah, that's a tough one. And I think it builds a ton of mental toughness. So I love that one. All right. If you only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
So I think it's going to be my power blocks. They get it. You can do a lot with those. I can't go as super heavy, but I've done a lot. I had those when no other weights for a really long time. I was able to do a lot fitness wise. I really like them. I'm using them again right now just because since I don't have the rack, I was like having to modify things, and those power blocks, they come in handy. You can get a lot done. I wish I had, they sell a version of it that goes up to, I think, 90 pounds.
That'd be awesome.
I would take those, but these going up to 50, you could still do a good amount.
Yeah, I think they're tied for first on my list for what I want to add for our gym. I really think adjustable dumbbells would be fantastic to have.
That's what I want, the power blocks to 90, because I have the Bowflex ones that go up to 50 whatever, and I wish I had the heavier ones.
Yeah. Space wise, you can't beat it.
Yeah. Amazing.
So what would be one thing to add to your gym? I think you kind of already talked about it.
Yeah, so I do really want a rower. I was in, I think, Ocean City last year, and they had a rower in the hotel, and I got to use, not a great one, but it was fun to be able to use that. And I liked using it even just to warm up before the workouts. Mm-hmm. So I really want to add that. I think I am. I think my wife's on board with it because I keep talking about it. And I put my name on the wait list for a concept too. So I was looking on Marketplace, but because of like coronavirus, people are selling them for like $1,700, which is ridiculous. So
even like not during the pandemic, it was like the cheapest one you could get was like $850. It was like, well, might as well just buy it new.
Yeah. So I think I'm getting. I don't know. She didn't really say anything, but I think I'm getting it.
It sounds like you've planted the seed pretty well.
Very well.
So it's definitely germinating, and I think something will come of it.
We'll check back in.
You let me know. I want a picture of your rower and your new I'll set up.
Reaction video.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, there are a lot of garage gym athletes out there listening to this right now. What would your best advice for them be?
I think the biggest thing, and it's shifted for me, is playing the long game, which is what I really liked when I first signed up for your program. And you guys talked about it a lot on the podcast, like programming for people for 10 plus years. And I'm seeing that more and more. I'm like not old, but like I feel my body aching, and I'm like, I'm just going to adjust this today and do something different. And it's worked out pretty well. And I want to be able to do this as long as I can. So, my mentality has been for as long as I can do it, I will. And I just want to play that long game. And I think that's the best advice I would give. Like, don't worry about going too fast, too quick, and just take it slow and let it build over time.
I love it. I agree wholeheartedly. Well, Daniel, it's been awesome having you on and sharing a little bit of your experience. I do appreciate your time and for being a garage gym athlete. So thanks for being here, man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.